Good day. In today's lesson, we will be dealing with the context of communication. So, context means the situation within which something exists or happens. So, like for example, when you ask someone, what's the context when you are delivering your message? So, it can be while delivering your message, there is a party happening. So, that's what context is. So in learning the context of communications, we will be dealing with speech acts, speech context, setting, and speech styles. But in this video, we will just focus first on speech acts and speech context. So what is a speech act? So speech act is coined by John Austin. When we say speech acts, these are acts done by saying them. So what is your action you're trying to convey when you say something? So that is a speech act. So we have different levels of speech act. The first level is locutionary act. Next is the illocutionary act. And the last is perlocutionary act. So let's define them one by one. So locutionary act is the speaking part of the speech act, which has meaning in the traditional sense. So in other words, what you say is just a literal meaning, no other hidden meaning. So usually in locutionary act, you speak with correct grammar and pronunciation. So example, when I say, it's hot here, what I mean is it's really hot here, so no other meaning. It's hot because of the weather. Another example, when I say I don't have money, so it means I really don't have money. My pocket is empty. No other meaning. So next, when I say she is sick, it means she is sick. She's really not feeling well. So next level of speech act is illocutionary act. So which is the performance of the act of saying something with a specific intention. So in short, you say something with a specific intention. So example, the context is the aircon is off, and when I say it's hot here, it's my indirect request to turn on the aircon. So here I just didn't utter words, but I have an intention. Next example. The context is I just finished running for 2 hours with my friend. And when I say, you know what, I'm kind of thirsty right now. So my intention is my friend to get me some water or anything that could quench my thirst. Another example, the context is I went to my friend's house to eat some dinner, and there she cooked beef steak, and I said, it would be better if this would be served with iced tea. So that's my indirect request to my friend to give me some iced tea along with the beef steak she served. So those are examples of illocutionary acts. So there is a hidden intention. Now, John Searle categorized illocutionary acts into 5, and each of them have their own illocutionary purpose. So these are assertive, directives, commissives, expressives, and declaratives. So first we have the assertives. So it commits the speaker to the truthfulness of a condition or situation, such as when he or she asserts, concludes, deduces, or swears that something is true. For example, when speaker asserts that all men are mortal. So this statement is true because no man is immortal. Next example, Rodrigo Duterte is the president of the Philippines. So here, the speaker's attention is to inform us that what he said about who is the president of the Philippines is true. So next we have directives. So attempts by the speaker to make the listener do something. So this includes when the speaker commands, begs, requests, invites, pleads, and insists. So example, please pass the salt. So here the speaker's intention is to request that someone may pass the salt unto him. Next example, go get the chair. So here the speaker is commanding someone to get the chair. So that is his intention. Next, we have the commissive. So commit the speaker to a future action, such as when a speaker guarantees, pledges, swears, or promises to do something. Example, when I say I promise to love you till death do us part, I am guaranteeing and promising someone. So that's my intention in uttering that statement. Next example, I'll be there at 3 o'clock. So here, the speaker commits to a future action and the speaker guarantees that he'll be there at 3 o'clock. Next, we have the expressive. Shows a speaker's attitude toward a situation. Includes apologizing, congratulating someone, thanking someone, comforting someone. So it is an elocutionary act that expresses an attitude or feeling. So example, I am sorry for stealing your food. So your intention here is apologizing. Next, congratulations, your sim won 500,000. So your intention here is to express you are congratulating someone. Next, we have the declaratives. Make something true by saying it or constative, or make the speaker do something by saying it, or performative. So example, a priest uttered, I now pronounce you husband and wife. So in this statement, two single persons become a real couple by uttering that and making them husband and wife that must share the good times and bad times of marriage life. So performative. Another example, you are not my friend anymore. So when the speaker says this, the speaker is not just trying to say this, but is trying to imply that he or she will remove her out of her life. So those are the 5 elocutionary acts categorized by John Searle. Now let's move on to the next level of speech act, which is the perlocutionary acts. This act happens when what the speaker says has an effect to the listener. So for example, when I say to you that it's hot here and you turn on the aircon, that is an example of perlocutionary act because what I tell you has an effect to you. So I made you turn on the aircon. Next example, when your girlfriend commanded you not to play ML for an entire and you obeyed her, that is an example of perlocutionary act. Another example, when your parent told you to focus on your studies and that statement has an effect to you, you focus on your studies and ignore thousands of your suitors, well, that's we call as perlocutionary act. Now let's move on to appropriate verbal and non-verbal behavior in different speech contexts. So when you are using interpersonal communication, it is the context or situation in which verbal and non-verbal communication should be minimized. Why? Because normally you don't verbalize what you communicate to yourself. Thus, loudness or softness of the voice and the language form are not the factors in your speech. And since you are just talking to yourself either in spoken language or just talking in your mind, non-verbal communication such as posture, hand gesture should be minimized as well. Next, when you are communicating using interpersonal communication, particularly when you are speaking in diads, this requires decreasing the nature of some verbal and non-verbal elements of communication. So for example, when you are talking to me, you don't have to raise your voice or make it louder because it's just the two of us. Making your voice louder will sound irritating or I may perceive you as an impolite person. But of course, you must see to it that you will use the proper tone in our conversation. So if the discussion is a happy discussion, of course your tone must be happy as well. And also here, you must keep your gestures small. You then have to work from left and right and use hand gestures as if like you are talking to a lot of people in front of you. And then you must be able to establish an eye-to-eye contact. So this will help you understand clearly what the other person is saying and figure out if what he's saying is what he really means. You must also establish a good posture and avoid unnecessary movements. So sit properly when talking to someone, especially if you are having your job interview. Avoid moving from your chair from time to time because this will give an idea to the interviewer that you are anxious and not confident enough. So you must also avoid mannerisms like biting your nails, touching your hair from time to time, wiping your face with your towel, and so on. Next, you have to maintain appropriate facial expression because this will show the emotion you want to convey. Now, when you are speaking to the public, there is more considerable distance between you and the listeners. We call that as proxemics or the use of space. So because of this, you must speak louder so that your listeners will hear you. You must also speak in an exaggerated rhythm to maintain the attention of the audience because others might fall asleep when you are speaking. Next, take more pauses to observe if your audience understands you. And in public communication, you must also use repetition and rephrasing. You have to repeat certain words because others may not properly hear. You must also rephrase those words that are uncommon to them so that they can understand you. So you really have to make some adjustments. So even in using nonverbal communication such as facial expression, you must have an exaggerated facial expression so that people at the back will clearly see your emotion. And of course, you must have proper posture. So through your posture or the way you stand in front of the people, it will also tell if you are prepared or confident in your speech or not. And when you are using intercultural communication, you must be very careful. So you must be aware of the possible differences in his or her connotation. For example, in some countries, the color white does not have a good connotation. It connotes emptiness, death, and so on. So you must be aware that the message that you try to send using metaphors may not be same message received by cross-cultural listeners. For example, using the word Christmas may not be appreciated by people from another culture who don't celebrate Christmas. Next is the loudness and softness of voice. So you must bear in mind that some foreigners don't like people with loud voice or soft voice. So in this matter, you have to observe first the way he or she speaks. So since you are talking with foreign people, there will be difference in how they interpret our non-verbal language such as our gestures and body language. So in other countries, establishing eye-to-eye contact to a woman is already a sexual harassment for them. The way we move our head from left to right, which means no or we are disagree, for other culture it means yes. Nodding of our head, which means yes or we are agree, means other thing to other countries. So that's the end of our discussion for today.